Hi, I'm Sharon Lawson, and this video is just to tell you about my story of chronic fatigue syndrome and my recovery. So I'll start by saying that I worked unhappily in fashion for about 14 years before I became ill the first time. I say unhappily because I kind of fell into fashion. I ended up being good at what I did and I created a good career out of it. But I did a sociology degree. I wanted to make the world a better place. I wasn't really that interested in fashion. I just happened to be good at what I did. It was a very complex job and I enjoyed it. It was very stressful. But it was really, the whole industry is really out of integrity with who I am and my values as well. So it's a bit of a strange choice. Everyone who knows me agrees that it was a strange choice that I ended up working in fashion. And it was around 2007 when I had a virus and I'd been a bit ill. And then one day I was at work and I just keeled over. And how I describe it is that I was at work and it was like I was a robot and somebody pressed my off button and nothing worked anymore. And what that meant is that I was basically paralyzed. I had no energy left in my body. The only thing that worked were my eyes. I could blink. I couldn't speak. I didn't have enough energy to come up through my body, through my vocal cords to actually speak. And it was a bit terrifying to say the least. Fast forward, I got a diagnosis of post-viral fatigue and they told me I would be better in 3 months, which I was almost to the day. But fashion being fashion and rather unforgiving, I lost my job in the process. And what I know now, which I didn't know then, was that illness is a really great opportunity to change your life. And I didn't change my life. I got a new job in fashion. I didn't change anything about myself. I didn't change literally nothing. Nothing at all. I didn't change my diet, didn't change my lifestyle, didn't change my mindset, didn't change anything. I just got another job in fashion. And this time the environment was even more toxic, really stressful, totally out of integrity with me in every way. And I was probably the most unhappiest I've ever been in my work. So I carried on as usual. I was told it would be 3 months I recovered, and I was recovered, so never thought about it again. And then about a year later, I kind of saw it coming this time. I saw the symptoms of brain fog and confusion and tiredness, and I saw it coming, but I was powerless to stop it, and I keeled over again. Only the second time, it wasn't 3 months, it was between 3 to 4 years. So this time I kind of realised I had to make drastic changes, if for no other reason. I'd lost my job, well, in the sense that I couldn't work and I didn't want to go back. And with that, I lost my status and I lost my income, and I kind of lost all my friends too, because I really enjoyed, I was an extrovert, enjoyed going out and everything and organising parties and things, and A, I couldn't, and B, I didn't want to anymore. So I kind of felt like I'd lost everything, and I thought, right, well, if I lost everything, let's just start again. Only this time, let's consciously choose what I want it to look, what I want my life to look like. Instead of falling into the job, why don't I just choose what I want to do? So that was a really important realization, that I had a choice to do something better. But in the meantime, I did a lot of research on viruses, heavy metal toxins, any lead on research as to why you would get chronic fatigue syndrome or ME. And, I did a lot of research and didn't really get very far with it. Tried a lot of alternative health because medical profession basically said we don't know what chronic fatigue comes from, we don't know what to do with it. So basically you're on your own, just go home and rest. I go into this as well in the ebook as well. But Didn't have any help from the medical profession. They did give me for chronic fatigue syndrome, they do give you CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, but I didn't find it to be very helpful at all. I felt the opposite. So I tried a lot of alternative therapies. I started to work on myself spiritually, emotionally as well. And I got to the point whereby I did some research. I had some help from an acupuncturist, and I found a supplement that kind of got my energy to a baseline functioning level. I managed to be able to be up and functioning on a daily basis, as opposed to previously where it was just too up and down. But I started to notice the patterns of my own behaviour and what would drain my energy and what would make me feel good. And that was the starting point of recognising some really important things about my emotional choices and my personal choices, saying yes to things I wanted to say no to, and no to things I wanted to say yes to, and that kind of thing. So, long story short, I did a hell of a lot of internal work. I did a lot of research, and one of the key things in my recovery was something quite unexpected, which was realising I didn't want to go back into the world of fashion. I knew I had to find something else for my work, and I sat down with a piece of paper one day thinking, right, well, got nothing to lose. What am I good at? And what do I love to do? Those were the two questions I asked, and I sat down with a piece of paper and a pen and I wrote the answers down, and it became really clear really quickly. It's one of those things where you go, it's so obvious. Why did it take me so long to figure this out? But it was quite obvious from what I'd written that I loved helping people. Even in fashion, I always unofficially mentored the younger members of staff. People always came to me with their problems, and I was quite happy to listen. And I realised that I just really like helping people be happier and healthier and live nice lives. And I sort of thought, is there a job for that? And I suddenly thought, oh, life coach. Seems so simple now. So I did a bit of research, and then I didn't know how I was going to pay for this course, but I found a way to get onto a interest-free credit card for a year, and I thought I'll figure it out in the year ahead. And the moment I signed up for that course, 80% of my energy returned, which was an absolute revelation to me. And at the time I thought it was just me. Now, through my work and helping other people, I realise how much life purpose is entwined into people's health, because it's an expression that we just want to express, and if it's not expressed, it can be quite painful, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So when I signed up, a lot of my energy came back in. I started a part-time job. I did the life coaching course, and I would say from that point onwards is when I kind of say I recovered, because I was back and functioning in society in a meaningful way again. But I really carried on with my healing journey after that. I felt like, although I was functioning at quite a high level, I wanted to keep going because my energy would still have fluctuations as well. So I learnt more healing modalities. I learned more healing modalities after I discovered quantum touch. So I was a life coach, only interested in coaching at the time, and then quantum touch found me. I wasn't looking to go into healing, but I was looking at healing myself, so to a deeper level. So quantum touch found me because I signed up for a day of demonstrations on healing modalities, but didn't know what I'd signed up to. Spirit had kind of guided me to sign up for something, and I remember turning up going, what am I doing here? I didn't even know what I signed up for. And it was really quantum touch that stood out for me. So I decided to have a session. I'd never done any kind of energy healing before, so I signed up for a session, distant healing session, because I thought in for a penny, in for a pound. And my body's reaction to receiving energy was so conclusively amazing that I realized that I needed to learn quantum touch and to help others with it, but initially helping myself with it as well. So I learned quantum touch. I learned actually a lot of other healing modalities for myself more than anything else. I'm very thorough as a person. So for example, when I learnt EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping, I decided to write another list of all the people that I could still think I was upset by, or had said something or had done something, and there was still an emotional charge there. I realised it wasn't healed. So I sat there for a week and I went through that whole list until everyone on that list had been tapped through. Very thorough in my healing. And so quantum touch was really the starting point of my healing journey, and it just opened up my eyes to what was possible, really. And I was determined that I be thorough with my own healing, not leave it and go, oh, I'm kind of mostly functioning, that's fine. I really went into it on a deeper level to look at where the core of my condition had started from. And it's one of those things whereby, it's quite hard. Like, you've done so much now. You kind of like, once something's healed, it's kind of just disappears because it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm trying to remember all the stuff that I did. But, it really was a mind, body and spirit healing that I decided I needed. And I learned a lot on my path. So let me tell you some of the things that I learned about myself personally, and see if that resonates with you too. So I learned very importantly that illness can be a great source of positive change if you let it be and you don't resist it. I learned that I had no boundaries before I got ill. And I learned that it was really important to have strong boundaries in life, mainly so that you weren't living by someone else's agenda, wants and needs, and that you actually were living by your own needs and fulfilling what you needed in this lifetime. So that was really important. I learned how to say no nicely, politely, kindly, but no, firmly no. That was really painful for me when I first started doing it, but now I find it really easy peasy to say no. And I often say to people, it's important to discern what you want to say yes to and what you want to say no to. That's not to say that you just say no to everything you find uncomfortable, because discomfort creates growth. You learn a lot about yourself through discomfort and uncomfortable situations. So it's not about avoiding discomfort. You don't just say no to everything that you think sound but it's about not living according to other people's requirements of you. So I learned that the long hard way. What else did I learn? You need to work on your past. Definitely learned that. Not just your current triggers, but your core triggers. That means going into the past and taking an honest look around at what's there, and realizing how much your subconscious mind runs your life if you let it. And I do believe that although the subconscious mind does run your life, because that's what its job is, you need to take control of your mind if you want to be in charge of your life, because otherwise your subconscious just runs old programs that have got nothing to do with your true desires, your true wants, your true needs. So learning how to utilize the mind you were given in its correct form, not let it run amok, which it does if it doesn't have anyone telling it no. So really learning to live from spirit and be directed by spirit then using the mind to do what you want to do and having your body experience that, and that's lovely, that's the way it was meant to be, and not having your mind run amok and ruin your peace and ruin your joy and ruin basically your life by just like running all kinds of negative ideas that really have no basis in truth. So that's really important, I believe, when you have a health condition, because if you don't have your mind under your control, what happens is your stress mechanism runs amok as well. It just I go about this in the book as well, in the ebook, but you have a cell danger response, and if your cell danger response gets stuck, you end up in a loop of illness. And if you want health, your mind is an important part of recovery from illness. What else did I learn? I learned that vibration is really important, because we're all energetic beings at the end of the day, and we have the ability to raise our vibration to the levels of love, peace and joy at will if we wish to. And that's really important, because that's where all the good stuff is. That's where the joy is, that's where the peace is, that's where the love is. So why wouldn't you want to live from that place? Why would you want to live in anger, shame, guilt, unhappiness, worry, anxiety? You can choose to live at the higher levels, and there are basic techniques that you can use that you just have to cultivate. You just have to practice. Why? Because the subconscious mind learns through repetition. So practice is essential. But once you practice at it, it's like everything else. It goes into your subconscious mind, becomes automatic. You don't have to work really hard all the time at it. You just need to really get the practice in to begin with. What else? Oh yes, so I think really the things that I learnt most from my illness was, one, it was actually a blessing. It was the hardest thing in my life at the time, but now I can look back on it with an absolute sense of thank God. Thank God I got ill. Thank God I changed my life, really, because I've got a much better life than I had. I thought I was okay, but I really wasn't. I thought I was happy. I really wasn't. I thought I was healthy. I really wasn't. And now I would say that I live a very conscious life of my choosing. I'm very, very discerning in what I do in my life. I have a really good balance in my life as well. And so all of those things were made possible because I became ill. And I chose to use that illness as a way to understand myself better, to love myself more, and to choose to live the life that I believe I'm meant for. So that's what I did for myself. That's what I try and help others with too. Teach what you know. And, I believe that we all deserve to have a truly wonderful life. I believe we were given life to be enjoyed, not to be endured. So, I hope you find hearing my story helpful and that you can understand that, if you can recover from an illness that has no cure. Yeah, medical profession might not have a cure, but doesn't mean there isn't one. So, yes, that's my story. I hope you have enjoyed listening to it, and thank you. We're almost at the 20-minute mark, so if you've managed to get to the end, thank you for listening.